Good morning. If you've been watching the news lately, we've heard a lot of different percentages. We've heard of the 1%, we've heard of the 99%, and today on Veterans Day, I want to talk about the 0.5%. The 0.5% is the number of people that actively serve in today's military. In World War I, to put this into context, there was a draft, and 4.5% of this population served to defend the continent of Europe. In World War II, 16 million men served, 11%. There was a draft. In Korea, there was a draft, and 3.5% of our nation served. In Vietnam, 4%. But in the global war on terror, half of 1%. Now, some of you may think that's a shame. There should be more. We should have more of our population served. And I understand that sentiment. But look at it a different way. 10 years ago, this country was attacked, and 2,977 people lost their lives. And in order to prosecute the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, our military was so good, so professional, that not only did we not have to enact a draft, but only 1/2% were required to serve. When you think of the 0.5%, understand that we have a military today that is not only the best in the world, but that is able, through technology, through professionalism, and through training, to be all over the globe. In South Korea, we keep North Korea at bay. In Eastern Europe, we serve as a check and a balance on the designs of Russia. And in Japan, we serve as a check and a balance on the designs of China. We're all over the world, and only 1.5 million of us are able to do that. And that's pretty good. Beyond that, today's United States military provides humanitarian aid all over the world. Whether it's in Japan, Indonesia, Haiti, it's through how good our military is that we are able to provide this much help all around the world with only 1% of our population. War is not an easy thing. It's an ugly thing. It's awful. But when laws fail, when morals fail, when diplomacy fails, don't forget there is only one way that freedom can conquer tyranny. There's only one way that good conquers evil when all those things fail, and that's through war. We don't desire to go to war. Soldiers, General MacArthur said, are not warmongers. On the contrary, the soldier prays for peace, for it's the soldier that has to suffer the scars and the wounds of war. It is only through war that good can conquer evil. And make no mistake, this country stands apart in the wars that it prosecutes. The enemies that we fight possess evil. Last month, I had the good fortune to go down to the 9/11 Memorial, and if you haven't had that opportunity, I highly encourage you to do it. The first thing that makes an impact on you is just the sheer scale of loss. If you've been to the Vietnam War Memorial, the sheer scale of the loss there is seen just by the number of names. It's a little different at the 9/11 Memorial. 2 gaping holes in the ground that are a metaphor for the physical loss. And that's the first thing that makes an impression on you. The second thing is you go around and you see the names. The things that made a big impression on me is you go through and you see the sheer diversity in the names. You see Irish names and Italian names and Indian names and Vietnamese names and Arabian names. But the biggest thing that made an impact on me was the names that were listed with unborn child. Lives yet unlived were lost and were taken by an enemy that has no regard for life. By an enemy that, as we've unfortunately experienced over in Iraq and Afghanistan, can take a child the size of many of the children around here, murder them and fill their bodies with explosives and use that child's body as a bomb. That's the evil we face. If you talk to a Vietnam War vet, as I had the recent opportunity to do, they'll tell you what they saw. A lot of the guys don't want to talk about it. And they'll tell you the evil they faced. And they'll tell you that they did not want to be captured by the enemy, that they would rather die. They would rather take their own life than be captured by the North Vietnamese. They faced evil. If you talk to the Korean War vets, they'll tell you they uncovered mass graves of South Koreans. Men, women, and children slaughtered. They fought evil. If you talk to the World War II veterans, especially those that liberated the concentration camps, if they're willing to talk to you about it, they'll tell you they fought evil. We go to war to defend this country, and we go to war to fight evil. It separates our nation from others. We don't go to war for conquest. We don't go to war for oil. Although, if you looked at gas prices when they were $4, you might have wished we had. But we don't. We fight for the good. Every service member serves for their own personal reasons. But they all have something in common, and that thought reminds me of a story I read recently about a father who had served in Vietnam, and his son came home and he said, "Dad, I want to join the Marines. I've been talking to a recruiter. And the Marines, the few, the proud, Semper Fi. I want to join the Marines." And his father said, "Son, do you know what you're getting into?" He says, "Yeah, Dad, it's going to be great. The camaraderie, the uniform." He says, "Son, I've been there. You're going to see people die. You're going to see heads blown off. You're going to go through awful things." And his son said, "Dad, it's not that big a deal." And the father took the son and he stared him right in the eyes. He said, "Son, look me in the eyes. Are you ready to die for your country?" The son said, "I never thought of it like that." For the next 3 days, every day when that son came home from school, he went into his room and he thought. He ate dinner and he didn't say anything. He just went into his room and he thought, and after the third day, he came out and he said, "Dad, I'm ready." Every soldier gives an oath. And that oath is to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, to bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That they take this obligation freely, without mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that they will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which they are about to enter. So help them God. This is an oath. Today's veterans, today's service members choose to serve. There's no draft. And if they don't understand what they're signing up for when they first sign up, believe me, basic training makes sure that they understand what they're committing to. You got to ask yourself, why? Why would these kids, 18-year-olds, why would they do that? They have their whole lives ahead of them. Why would they say, "My life is worth it"? And I'll suggest to you that it's love. Yes, love of country. Yes, love of family, love of friends, and in battle, love of the man or woman next to you. Recently, a Marine was given the Medal of Honor. Not too long ago, some of you may remember the story. He was a sergeant, low on the pole as far as rank goes. And he and 40 or so other guys were trapped in Afghanistan, surrounded by all sides by fire. And he and another guy took a truck in, not once, 5 times, to get those guys out. Over and over again, he put himself in danger to take his buddies out. You know, they interviewed him, and they asked him, why'd you do it? He said, they were a U.S. service member and they're getting shot at. They're your brothers. You got to go in there and get them out, or you die trying. And if you don't die trying, you didn't try hard enough. He saved 36 lives that day, but he didn't feel like a hero. In the interviews, he says, you know, I failed because I couldn't get the remaining 4 out. Why would he feel like that? Because he regarded the love of his brothers above himself. That's what it means to serve. Men and women next to each other on the lines, especially in there in combat, they get it. They serve on behalf of the guy and the gal next to them. And they willingly will put their lives in danger, give their lives for that person. They serve for love. Now, not every soldier, not every airman, not every Marine, and not every seaman deploys. Not every soldier sees battle. They've all taken that oath. They've all made that commitment that if called, they'll be there. It's common for me, if I'm traveling in uniform, to have people come up to me and say, thank you for your service, and this is good. But I sometimes wonder if people understand, if they truly know what they're thanking a veteran for. Yes, you're thanking them for their service, but do you understand what that service means? I've never deployed. I like to say that I fly a desk. With the job that I do, but every service member gives that oath. And they're willing, if called, to put themselves in danger for love of their country, of their family, of their friends. They're willing to put themselves in that position for a way of life that everybody here experiences on a day-to-day basis. Greater love has none than this, that one man should give his life for another. And when you thank a veteran, understand it. You're thanking them because they understand it. They are willing. Today is Veterans Day. Today we recognize everyone who has served. We recognize the World War II veterans that are commonly referred to as the greatest generation, who fought on the shores of Normandy. 16 million men, nearly 300,000 of which didn't come home. 300,000 didn't come home. We thank the Korean War veterans. Sometimes they're the forgotten veterans, who fought and still today are responsible for ensuring that there is a free South Korea. We thank the Vietnam veterans, the mistreated veterans, who came home and were ridiculed and spat upon. We thank the veterans of Desert Storm. And of course, we thank today's veterans. 10 years ago, an 18-year-old left his family and joined the service. Today, that 18-year-old is 28 years old. He went through basic while his friends were going to college. He probably deployed 1 year, and then another, and then another, and then another, while maybe his friends were getting married, starting a career, and having children. 10 years goes by, and that 18-year-old's still serving. He's a man or a woman. 10 years it's been, and we're still fighting. Honor your veterans. Honor their service, honor their commitment, understand what they have pledged. Thank you.